This is another pretty simple card to make. The base of the card is balmy blue. It's 11 inches by 4¼ inches wide. So the designer paper, remember, one of them is kind of a bright blue raindrops and the other one is cloudy. I use the bright blue. You could use the other if you choose. But that paper is, it's upside down. The paper is cut at 4 inches by 5¼ inches. And then I glued it on to the card front. Then I kind of did some backward things here to get it placed where I wanted it. I then took a piece of basic white cardstock, and I think I cut it after I stamped it, but it's 3/4 inch. 3/4 inch wide, and it's 4¼ inches long, so it matches the sides of the basic card. Then I cut a piece of, gotta find what it's on. Oh, it's on the back of this pretty paper. So I cut a piece of this paper it's very small, and I kind of dipped it under, but it's probably maybe 3/8 inch, and it's also 4¼ inches wide. So that's easy to take a scrap off of one of these pieces that you've already been cutting on. The nice thing about this piece is there's no direction. So, you know, if you just have a little place up here that's free, you can use it. So anyway, the whole sheet is that pattern. So 3/4 inch by 4¼ inch. And I stamped in basic Memento black ink onto this strip, and then I put it on with dimensionals. And I did that first. So then I took my 3/8 and 4¼ inch strip of the mango squares, and I glued that, but I wanted to butt it up kind of next to or just barely under where the popped up piece is. Then I took my linen thread, which you will get in your packet. I wrapped it around twice and tied a bow. And mine's kind of loose, so you want to make sure you get it tight. And I always, and so I couldn't fix it because I do this, I always take my twine and my, you know, the really thin linen thread and twine and things like that, and I always, after I get it wrapped, I will tie a knot so that it doesn't come all undone later. If the bow comes undone, the rest of it's still there. But anyway, so tie that around twice and tie it into a bow. Okay, so I mentioned in one of the other videos that I save my puddles. Remember, I have puddles in here because you might want them. So in this case, you probably wouldn't have to use a saved one, but I used the die cut rabbit, and you can use any of the rabbits you want, but I was running out of rabbits. So I guess it does go. Okay. So like I said, when you die cut, it cuts the puddle off. So then you can go back and just, you know, fussy cut the puddle. And that's what I did here. And I put both the puddle and the rabbit up on dimensionals, but I put them together and you really can't tell. And it doesn't matter if you can tell, you know, as long as it's right there together. Anyway, so that's where I used the puddle after I die cut the bunny. Then I also used the turtle die cut, and I think this is the turtle. Anyway, I die cut him out, but after I die cut him, I cut the flower off. I didn't want the flower there because I wanted to put the umbrella there instead. You can do either one. So then I went back to my umbrella paper. And I used my, I guess I had to fussy cut that one. You can use any of the umbrellas. They're all a little different. This multicolored one I think I've used on a different card. So anyway, you have to cut those out with your scissors. So the turtle is also on dimensionals, but he has this umbrella, and then I didn't mention, then out of that same umbrella paper, I used my die and cut out one of the umbrellas for the rabbit to hold. And then again, using this paper, I cut 3 more clouds out using my cloud die. Any one of these will work. Well, maybe not that. Just the sets of 3. And I cut out another set of 3, which are all here. 2 of them are on dimensionals, and this one's glued down. And then I noticed they go different directions. Your dies will have these little grasses, and they go different directions. So I used old olive cardstock, and I cut out 2 little grasses. You could cut a third one for underneath here if you wanted. But I cut those out, and then I just kind of slipped them a little bit under here because I didn't glue it right up to the very edge. And those are just glued straight down onto the designer paper. So then the final thing I did on the front was, and you'll get some of these little rhinestones or sequins, and I used the sequins around the greeting. And that's all for the front. But I did do something to the back. I took another strip of 3/8 inch, but I only cut it as wide as 4 inches. This piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4. So it only goes to the edge of the white piece here. And then I cut out one of those little flowers again, and I glued it down on the inside. So that's the end of that one.